Good night, I'm Lisa Lord, and in our news, Prime Minister Motley meets with Transport Board and Barbados Workers Union officials, but there's no word on retrenchment numbers. A UNICEF official worried about violence against women and children here in Barbados. Adults advised to point out to children the error of their ways to stop them from getting into trouble with the law. And in sports, Foundation and Harrison College win a BSAC's Esther Maynard Zone.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC News Night, starting now.
Prime Minister Amor Motley has met with hundreds of workers and senior officials of the state-owned Transport Board. The meeting, which lasted for over 2 hours, was held at the Barbados Workers Union Solidarity House this morning. Our Rianne Phillips tells us more.
From just after 10 a.m., scores of Transport Board workers made their way to the BWU headquarters. They were all eager to hear what was on the agenda. Transport Minister Dr. William Duguid, Labour Minister Colin Jordan, and Board Chairman Gregory Nichols were also present. Ms. Motley explained the talks were positive and were held to update the workers about government's plans and to receive feedback.
This is probably the third set of workers I've met with this week. So I've made a determination that I want to go out there and hear firsthand from people, hear what their perspectives are, hear the changes that they feel that need to happen, and at the same time I need to share where we are, what we can do, because the most important thing is that we are on the same page in the interest of this country.
She also shared some of the suggestions that were advanced.
There were a number of suggestions that came up in here, as came up earlier in the week with others, that they feel that they can make the difference. They're the ones on the routes. They're the ones who know how route optimization can take place. They're the ones who know, for example, whether we need to have scheduled times, not just for public buses, but for privately owned PSVs as well. And these are the things that came out in here today.
BWU General Secretary Senator Tony Moore also participated in the session. She told the media the number of workers to be affected by any changes is still to be determined.
There was a wider perspective being put out there of larger numbers that would be falling at the Transport Board. That discussion has not commenced. We are still at the stage where we are in discussion with the board, awaiting a full presentation on the board's vision for the Transport Board. And once we have that, we will be able to go into fuller discussion. And we're not saying that other workers will not be impacted, but that determination has not yet been made.
The Transport Board is one of the entities earmarked for major changes under the BERT program with the IMF. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Well, a government minister is telling adults not to be afraid to put children on the right track, even if it means a verbal confrontation with them. Minister of Elder Affairs Cynthia Ford made the suggestion while addressing a panel discussion hosted by the Men's Committee of the Bureau of Gender Affairs. The theme was accessing alternatives to violence in today's community. She says despite resistance from some, most children are happy to have someone point out the difference between right and wrong.
And so we talk about give back, Operation Give Back. All of us have got to give back. Please dispel that notion that when you speak to a young person that they will curse you. And what if they curse you? Some don't know any better. But at least you do not know the extent to which it will resonate with them. You know what that little old woman Cynthia Ford said was true? You know what Lynn said really makes sense by the time they go home and reflect.
And crime prevention officer with the Royal Barbados Police Force, Inspector Stephen Griffith, agrees with Minister Ford. He says he's seen many cases in which children lack a guidance, causing them to end up before the Juvenile Liaison Department, which he heads. Now, the inspector recounted an instance where a mother brought her 8-year-old son because she could no longer control him.
That is a serious indictment on our country. When an 8-year-old can give his mother the kind of problems that she needs to come to a department in the police force for assistance. And that is a serious problem. We have allowed the cat out of the bag. We are not doing the right things.
A top UNICEF official for the Eastern Caribbean has raised a red flag about violence and abuse towards children in Barbados. Dr. Aloy Kumaraje says it is still too widespread. He's also spoken out about violence against women in the region.
3 out of every 4 children under the age of 15 have experienced violence, discipline at home. That happens also at school. Bullying and fighting in schools are rife. In Trinidad and Tobago, 1 in 3 women experienced sexual violence before the age of 18.
And Dr. Kumaraje was speaking during the launch of activities for the 30th anniversary of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Minister of the Creative Economy, Culture and Sports John King says that UNICEF has been an invaluable partner to Barbados over the years. He says all children need to be involved in some form of cultural activity from an early age, and Mr. King believes that this could mitigate many of the challenges facing young people today.
It is also important to note that international organizations like UNESCO and the Organization of American States have long recommended culture as a means to the development, to build self-esteem and national identity, and to promote social inclusion. In all of this, I strongly believe that from an early age, all children need to be engaged in some form of cultural activity, like dance, music, art, and sport. This early exposure affects the way children feel about themselves through the forming of their self-image and identity, and impacts on their relationships with others.
Well, the annual Crop Over Sponsors Reception is underway at Ilara Court. This event is one where stakeholders of the festival look forward to most of the major announcements for the season. Now, our Ryan Broom joins us live from there. Good evening, Ryan.
Good evening, Lisa. I'm definitely here at the Ilara Court for this annual sponsors reception, where, as you can hear behind me, is well underway. And there have been a lot of major announcements already, to be quite sure. One relates to the Pick of the Crop competition, one relates to the Soca Monarch competition, and one relates to what we used to refer to at one time as cavalcades. And to just touch briefly on each of these areas quickly with me is Corporate Communications Specialist with the NCF, Simone Covington. Good evening, Simone.
Good evening.
Okay, Simone, let's start with the Pick of the Crop competition. Some major changes there. It's missing a large part this year.
Yes, the semi-finals. You know, there was a lot of talk going around for a number of years, actually, about having no semi-final and going straight into the final. So that's what we've done this year. We've made a change to the Pick of the Crop competition, and so we're going straight into the finals with 16 meeting the winner from last year. And of course, there are 2 other changes with respect to the prize. As you would have heard, and now the public will be hearing, there's a prize vehicle, and there's also the option of $100,000. So that's a big change.
Very big change. Let's jump right into the next one, which is related to the Soca competition. We now have one instead of...
Yes, and so instead of the Sweet Soca and the Party Monarch as we traditionally had for the last few years, we've changed back more or less to one competition. So it's no Sweet Soca and Party Monarch. The 2 winners, the 2 monarchs from Sweet Soca and Party Monarch will now go into, they'll have to start over. They'll be going straight into the final, but instead of having what we used to call Soca Royale, it's now going to be the Soca Monarch.
That will be at the National Botanical Gardens as well. And finally, just because there are a lot, but we're going to deal with just those 3. We also have what's going to be coming, what used to be cavalcades, now called
the Bejoramas, and we have 6 of those, and we're starting on May 4th, and that's going to be very, very interesting. So you need to come out and listen out for the information. The calendar is going to be coming out from today. Once we leave here, we go live with the calendar.
So Lisa, as you can see, a lot is in store for Crop Over this year, and I think the theme this year is Crop Over, correct? And so look out for that hashtag as well. Look out for that all over social media. But for now, that's it for me from Ilara Court, returning to you live in the studio from Ilara Court.
What's Trending is brought to you by Trident Insurance. We treat you like family.
And we say hello now to Lisa Broom in our social media corner to tell us what is trending. Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, yes, and it's time for What's Trending. So as Barbados goes through the bird restructuring program, many people have found themselves out of work. But we're hearing there may be good news for some of them, as a new hardware megastore is set to open early next year, and the recruitment process should begin shortly. It's owned by a Curacao-based company, and the investment has been described as a sign that Barbados is on the way back up. Well, some Facebook users have weighed in. Let's see what they're saying. Lawrence Griffith says he doesn't know where people are going to get the money from to shop, and he doubts the megastore will pay enough in wages. Sandra Estwick wants to know what the opening of this new store will mean for the hardware stores already established here. And Jesse Dean is glad to hear about the move, saying that Barbados is ready for growth. Well, yesterday we learned about the plight of Hazel Cadogan from the Pine, who was appealing for help. Let's take a listen.
I need help. I can't sit at this door having 2 pennies and begging for $2 when the days come. When I get the $2, it takes a week or two before I could get something. So I need help. If it is in my mind, if I am like the little girl with a demon, I still need help.
Well, that video was originally posted on Facebook by ordained minister Sandra Singh, and it has been shared thousands of times. Many people have even reached out to us here offering her assistance. Now, this woman in the U.S. went the same route. Her 12-year-old son is very ill. He's been diagnosed with sickle cell disease as well as a rare kidney disorder. Now, the monthly treatment he's been getting is no longer working, and they're desperately searching for a kidney donor.
In the last few months, these treatments haven't been enough. They need to find a new kidney as soon as possible.
He's already at less than 50% kidney function. When you get to around 30 and 20, that's when they start to talk about dialysis.
In hopes of avoiding dialysis, Corey's mother took to social media to try and find a living donor. With some help from her friends at Cahi House Cafe and Bakery in Virginia Beach, her Facebook post took off.
All these people have posted it. Like, I know that one of these people has got to be his match.
Well, let's hope the people featured in those 2 previous videos get the assistance they need and have reasons to celebrate, just like this woman in this next video. She was captured on camera celebrating after doctors declared her cancer-free. I can only imagine that must be an amazing feeling. Well, it's become a tradition in some hospitals for patients to ring a special bell at the end of radiation therapy. Now, Thomas Cook Airlines has had to issue an official apology to a 21-year-old woman for threatening to put her off a flight. The reason, you may ask? Well, it was her outfit. The young woman was wearing a high-waisted pants and a crop top, but apparently the cabin crew told her the outfit was causing offense. People have been weighing in on Twitter, and it seems that opinions are divided on whether or not her dress was appropriate. So some support the young woman, like this poster, who blasted the airline for subjecting her to what they describe as abuse over simply exposing her arms and chest. They say it is not okay to embarrass her for no good reason, and questioned whether she was expected to wear overalls instead. However, this person thinks the airline would have been absolutely right to put her off the plane. Well, I have my opinion. I wonder what is Lisa's. Maybe we'll get it right after. But that's all the time we have for What's Trending this evening. We invite you to send your comments to our WhatsApp numbers at 233-7388 or 233-7555, as well as our Facebook and Instagram pages. Or you can also send to our email at nca@cbc.bb. And as we keep telling you, remember, it's a public forum, so keep your comments clean. So we will see you on Monday for another What's Trending, because it's Friday, so it's the weekend. Lisa, any high-waisted pants and crop tops for you?
If I had the body for it, I would probably wear the same thing.
Come
What
on.
do you think?
Come
do you think she was inappropriately dressed, Lisa?
I do not. It was a flight. Come on. She wasn't going to school.
Well, 14 employees are going home from the Nation group of companies as a result of their continuing restructuring process. A memo from the Chief Executive Officer, Anthony Shaw, this evening informed staff that there were voluntary separations, contractual changes, and some positions being made redundant. The action spans every level and every department in the company. And reports are that Valerie Hope, the head of marketing and communication at the Nation newspaper, is among those affected. Well, non-profit organization Dance for Life Barbados satisfied it has encouraged more youth to make positive life decisions. Over the past 10 years, it has reached over 22,000 Barbadian teenagers. And this week, the most recent participants got a chance to celebrate at the biennial Dance for Life big event at the Lloyd Erskine Sandyford Centre. Our Rianne Phillips has more.
Dance for Life has indirectly reached over 4 million individuals.
Dance for Life Barbados is part of an international non-profit organization that unites young people through music and dance. It also seeks to reduce cases of HIV, STIs, and unplanned pregnancies among young people. One of the organizers, Leila Raphael, says their efforts have been bearing fruit.
We've had really positive results. So we do a lot of data collection, so baseline surveys at the beginning of every school year and then endline to measure our impact. And we've had consistent increases in knowledge, consistent increases in attitude changes and behavior change, increase in condom use, decrease in substance use. So we're able to measure impact every year.
And students have been listening to the messages.
Dance for Life is an experience, it's fun. It has been a lot of knowledge about how to keep yourself out of trouble when you get older in life, and it's taught me a lot.
There's the STIs called crabs, then sometimes there's substance abuse that lead to the STIs because you get drunk and then you can't focus about what you're doing. Then there is there's like the drugs, not only alcohol, there's cocaine, there's weed, marijuana. Some people say it's good, but other than that, it gets you high on a rush, that gets you very sick. Barbados is the 20th country and the first in the Caribbean to join the Dance for Life Global Youth Leadership Platform. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Well, consistent support is being assured for before being treated at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. It's coming from the Katrina Endometriosis Fund Association of Barbados, or KIFA, which made its second donation of feminine hygiene products to the ward this morning. Now, KIFA ambassadors Eric Lewis and Shirley Stewart, along with other members, handed over 35 bags of products to hospital officials.
Being an endometriosis survivor, it's hard, especially being in the hospital and have an emergency and you have to wait on relatives to bring your necessities. So we started the endo drive where that the nurses here in the department can actually assist in giving you what we would call a care package that would facilitate you till your family then brings the stuff for you.
And that is President of KIFA, Katrina Aline, who says that education is one of the foundation's main pillars. And she will be traveling to Delaware in the United States to speak at an international conference on endometriosis. Meantime, Roxanne Outram, a registered nurse on Ward B4, says that the 20 patients there will appreciate the donation.
We find that sometimes patients come on the ward and they don't have the necessities such as toilet paper or even a soap. Sometimes it's got to borrow from other patients or wait until a loved one can bring it. So these will come in very handy for them.
Well, Christmas has come early or late, depending on how you look at it, for 3 lucky customers of Sewing World Department Store. The 3 are winners of the company's Christmas competition. Sharon Lord took the first prize of $2,500 worth of merchandise. Shoshana Sandiford, $1,500 worth of merchandise. And Tricia Wilcher sent a representative to collect her $1,000 prize. Now, Office Assistant Dolores Haynes says that they have been running the competition for the last 9 years.
We are always grateful to be able to offer something back to our customers, and I want to say congratulations to all three of those winners, and for those persons who would have shopped with us last year, next year may be your chance, or this year may be your chance, so don't feel too bad. But we want to say continue to support Sewing World, and we want to thank all our customers for patronizing this business year after year.
And two of the winners already have plans for their prizes.
I'm overwhelmed. To be honest, right now I'm looking at some curtains here. Some lilac and silver. Wow. And I think that's the first choice I'm going to have.
Have you ever won anything before?
No, not really.
Very excited, very glad. I see so much nice things that I want. I see spreads. I got my eyes on them. Things coming first is spreads. And there's another competition. I'll be here shopping.